Good morning, Facebook. So our interns had to go back to school, so I'm on a little different schedule. I drop the kids off and come out here for a little bit until we get into harvest. Our chickens will be gone here in a couple weeks. Plenty of time to go on a little tangent this morning. Got our wagon over here. We got this non GMO corn from neighbor Scott Laster about 6 weeks ago, I don't know, a month ago, and we've been actually running it through a screen to get our chicken and sheep feed here. So I want to talk about kind of how two worlds collide, because you might look at this as some kind of like hipster farm, and then grain is like this industrial feed the world. I think they can work together. I'll talk about what we're doing for that. So this is non-GMO corn. Their market has been asking for that. So a lot of people on organic acres like this will feed non-GMO corn to get that market premium. So there's a lot of things that go on here. Well, first, this organic field was fertilized initially with our CAFO manure from our hog barns to give us that nitrogen boost to grow the corn and cover crops with so much velocity that you're seeing, which what I talk about quite a bit is offense is sometimes our best defense as far as out-competing weeds. So started with that. And then this farm, you know, you've got popcorn that we're going to sell directly to the public in our trucks, and we're thinking of a retail space where we actually pop it at venues. We've got sheep here that are going to go to Indianapolis restaurants like Ruth Chris, your Brazilian steakhouse. I can't ever say that, Pico de Chao. And then we got chickens we're going to sell as fundraisers for sports teams, PTAs, out of our truck, all kinds of things. You know, all at a market premium for doing what we're doing. And you see all this buckhorn coming to bloom. One of Courtney's teachers, John Clark, will be out here on Thursday morning to put bees out here. So we want to really increase our bee population. And there's a lot of stories about people taking a teaspoon of honey, and you got to think about all that stuff that bees getting and all that nourishment your body's getting as far as allergies and all that stuff that honey could do. We want to increase bee population on all of our farms. It's going to help our vegetables and everything else like that grow better. Little tangent, there's these yellow birds out here. I've never seen them in my life, and there's like 20 of them out here. I don't know if I can catch one. I just saw one a second ago. That one's gray, but it's so cool against that contrast of the buckwheat. So a little, you saw that trampled down sorghum Sudan grass. As we go this way, it starts recovering. We actually mowed the big stuff down. You can see how this just continues to come back. And there's so much we can replace. When I talk about three-dimensional thinking, and I start with a picture of my grandparents in the 1950s and talk about how Papa Lou took out a John Deere engine, had to put a Detroit in there because there wasn't enough power. He wanted to pull a plow faster because that's what all ag was about. Until, you know, probably the 90s or 2000s, two-dimensional thinking. Feed, 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 yield, 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 yield. But significance is when we can connect, get more for our product, and then create these natural algorithms that replace and eliminate inputs. So going back to that thought, if we can figure out ways to get our manure across a lot more acres and put them in more innovative systems that are connected with the community and different species, we can produce so much more food of value that's more nourishment, and create more opportunities for more young farmers. And that's kind of the big problem I have with our industrial system anymore. You know, this kind of stuff I'm doing, I don't want subsidized help, but it won't qualify for that. So even if I say relay soybeans is $150 more profitable. If it doesn't qualify for a system, then it really negates innovation in a lot of things. So going back, the sheep trampled that down from 9 foot, and now we're running our chickens. That's what this corn is for. I got to find these chickens, and then they are following this down, and they're big birds now. They're just a couple weeks from going in, and they're really doing a number on this cover crop. So they're taking this into the combine right here, and you can see what they did over the course of 12 hours. So they're depositing, taking a like so. Watch, get them splatter in here. But what I do now actually is we take this corn. They're going to go right there, so we'll just put it right here, and then we'll roll over it. But that will make them want to really disturb the ground and trample and throw this into the ground to feed the livestock underneath the ground. So it's a different thought, because you can put a gazillion of these birds in a barn, and I don't know what a contract looks like. You get paid 3 or 4 cents per bird, and it goes to KFC and, you know, drive through. Or you could, these guys got, again, 2 or 3 weeks. We freeze them. You enjoy this delicious bird that's never had any type of pesticides in its body. So it's created a market. And I made a previous video about what we can do when we integrate young people in between the rows, along with the animals, along with the cover crops, along with the cash crops, along with the bees. I mean, it is endless. And the goal next year in all this is to wax this out of the way, get a big cover crop, and then we'll have this huge garden that will all be organic, and I want to grow 50 different things. And why the cover crop is so important is if we can really establish that ground cover, and then we start taking in all this fertility and diversity that we've created this year, and the bees and all that stuff, it's going to allow me to just plant anything, and I don't have to worry about herbicides or schematics or anything. So anyway, these things are huge. I can't believe how much they grew when I was going. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall, and it's just about there. It's 120-inch spacing, almost touching, and we're just barely getting our chicken tractors through there. And I think this is a big function of all the stuff going on. So, all right, I'll let you go. Thanks for watching, guys.